When I saw the news yesterday about Jamal Adams, I'm not going to say I was surprised, but I was delighted. You know, it's nice, Leroy, sometimes when you're the first on something and you just sit back and watch things all just come around. Where you're like, I had that. I nailed that. So, headline.
Like you nailed the Jimmy Butler thing. Like you nailed the Gogi trade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you saying I wouldn't have nailed the Gogi trade if they would have traded him for Kawhi Leonard?
No. Wait a minute.
You sound silly.
Kawhi Leonard is not the only person you traded Gogi for.
Nah, that was the main one.
Well, what about the trade? Was it to Phoenix or Utah?
Nah, that was just kind of throwing it out there, getting a little wacky on a Tuesday. You know, don't hold everything against me. This is why I can't have trade talks anymore. You take the fun out of it.
What?
Yeah, I can't have trade talks anymore. It's not fun. I can't talk about, oh, can we go get Donovan Mitchell? Because then you're going to be like, oh, you traded Donovan Mitchell, Tyler Hero for Donovan Mitchell that one day, and now all of a sudden I can't root for Baby Goat if he ever has a good game for the Heat. It's not fair.
No.
It's not fair.
No. I only get on you when you try to trade a guy and then call him Heat lifer.
Gogi is a Heat lifer.
Okay, but how can he be a Heat lifer if he wouldn't even been a Heat player if it were up to you?
Over Kawhi? Because if you would have gone for Kawhi...
No. Forget who it's for. If you were so ready to get rid of him, keep in mind, I remember all the bum talks.
Oh, well, listen. Heat lifer...
I remember all the...
Listen.
Goran's a bum. I remember all those conversations.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
All I did was...
Yes, I do. When he started that season...
Oh, you mean when he started the season out of shape and terrible?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, listen. I got to call it like I see it. What am I going to do, lie to people?
No.
That's what you want me to do? You want me to sit up here and lie?
Let me tell you what you do. You package him in every trade possible.
No, I don't. It's not true.
You did!
I said give him a big fat contract in the offseason, as long as it doesn't mess up the flexibility of 2021. Give him all he wants. I think his name's going to be in the rafters. Anyway, Adam Gase, top bum. This Manish Mehta, who started off as a cheerleader for Adam Gase, but he quickly turned heel when he realized, this guy lives under a bridge. He's a hobgoblin troll. And the big news with the Jets has been Jamal Adams, their star safety. He wants out. And, you figure, is it a contract thing? What's the deal? Nah. Big reason why, in the New York Daily News today, Adam Gase, he says, this is just fantastic. The fissure between Jets and Jamal Adams cracked open thanks in part to a deteriorating relationship between the all-pro safety and his head coach. The New York Daily News has learned that Adam Gase is a major factor why Adams has felt uncomfortable with his long-term future with the team and requested a trade.
Did he just sign a new contract, or is he looking for one?
He's looking for his first one.
Okay, there you go. That has a lot to do with it, too. But I'm not going to cheat you of your moment.
The news first reported last week that Adams sought permission to seek a trade after no movement with his contract extension this offseason. However, Adams' discontent runs much deeper than simply finances. The Jets' best player does not want to play for Adam Gase anymore for a myriad of reasons. Myriad, Leroy. The prevailing sentiment in Gang Green's locker room is clear. Players don't respect Gase, who has rubbed them the wrong way with his inability to lead and lack of support. It's fantastic. Oh, Leroy, it's like if I was writing a column. I don't even need the facts. I could have just told you this from the start, Jets.
Texers, you get on me for holding you to the fire, right? Texters, soon as all this nonsense came out, Toby gonna be wrong about Bob. Bob, top bum.
Nope.
You've never. Nope. Wait. Can I say this? And this is a fact. And Robbie, you can second this. He's had given up more goals than anybody in hockey, and you still won't call him a bum. If it were anybody else, he'd be a bum.
Because I have
You're
a
not
deep-
calling it like you see it.
I
You're
have
not
a
calling it like you
no,
see it.
No. I have a deep understanding of the ice sport, and what you're seeing here is a myriad of things that are causing the goals to go in besides just Bob. Terrible defense. Nobody ever calls out the Yandel man or Ekblad. You have his lack of support from Coach Q, who
Can I ask you a question?
who clearly has a big goalie fetish. He's way more into the Drieger Beaver. So, it's just a question of, does he have the support system around him to succeed the most?
Okay. Is that any different than my explanations of Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah, because Ryan Tannehill I saw for 7 years. Like, if Bob does this for 7 years, then we can talk.
But if the talent around him has been garbage for 7 years, nothing changed. That was my point. You sitting here right now saying the reason why the goalie appears to be this bad is because of all the other defenders around him, right? And I said, you can't tell how good Ryan Tannehill is playing on a team with this talent.
Let me tell you something
Is
right
that
now.
Is that not
Let
the
me
same?
tell you something right
Is
now,
that not
Leroy.
the same?
I'm going to tell you something right now, okay? You know what you're not going to do? You're not dragging me into a Ryan Tannehill debate when I have this piece of erotica in front of me. Let's move on.
Fine. You want to move? Oh, you sound like my wife.
Move on. Let's move on.
Like, she, instead of dealing with her inaccuracies.
No, please. Let's in 2020, let's have another is Ryan Tannehill good debate. Let's do that.
Well, let's have the Bob Top Bum
Let's
debate.
do that. I just told you what. I told
4
you what's
goals
what.
a game. You suck.
Well, it's like half a season compared to 7 years of never doing anything, losing to Geno Smith and that dude from Duke.
Thaddeus Lewis.
Okay.
I'm not doing this again.
Okay,
Thad
fine.
Lost to a dude who's doing $10 cameos, Leroy.
Right. Okay.
I could get more than $10 on Cameo.
Okay. No, really.
I could.
50 cents.
Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy.
50 cents. Locally, 25 cents nationwide.
That's not how it works. It's the internet. It's worldwide, bro. The Mercurial head coach also drew the ire of a litany of players during his time with the Dolphins. Yeah, of course he did. Too many people on one Jets drive, including players, coaches, and front office members, don't trust or believe in Gase, whose disingenuous bent hasn't been lost on people in the organization. They painted a picture of an insecure figure, always willing to point the finger at others for the team's failings last season. No one player or person was immune. God, this is so great, Leroy.
Want me to tell you what Gase's problem is?
Yeah,
Right?
go ahead.
I'm going to tell you what his problem is. Is that he may very well be a good coach, but he's a terrible leader.
Yep.
And the reason why I say that is because if you go through all the coaches that you think are good coaches, I'm not even talking about X's and O's because we don't know if a coach is good X's and O's wise, besides what they tell you about Belichick and Flores and a lot of other coaches. We really don't know. Okay? Could you tell that Herm Edwards was a good X's and O's guy, but you knew he was a damn good leader?
Played to win the game.
Okay? So from that standpoint, one of the traits they all have is no matter how bad the team looks on the field, at no point in time will a good leader go in front of the media and start hosing his players. He will take responsibility for it.
Yep.
Even if we know it's not on him, he will go up there and say, look, that's on me. I got to make sure my guys have a better understanding of what we're doing. Correct?
Yep.
Every time Gase gets in front of a camera, he feels that he has to defend himself and defend what he's doing. And once you get to that point, nobody's ever going to look at you as a coach. They're going to look at you as a guy making excuses or a guy looking to justify what he's doing. And that's always going to be his problem because he's still doing it.
Gase's dislike for longtime trainer John Melody paved the way for the respected employee's ouster, a.k.a. reassignment last week. Jeez. It's the guy's been training with the Jets forever, and then Adam Gase can't stand him, and he's got to get reassigned.
I'm telling you what it is.
Some
Right?
team sources believe that Sam Darnold and David Fales, that guy's a Gase lackey, are among the few returning players who actually tolerate Gase, a stinging indictment of the coach who has been associated with losing coaches for the better part of his football life. Ooh.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Again. Now, here's what's going to happen. You ready? Here's what's going to happen. It's New York, so somebody's going to bring that article up. Right? And how he responds to it is never going to make him look better because he's going to get defensive.
Yep.
And any time in that environment, if you get defensive, it makes it worse. And that's what he's been doing. That's what he did when he was here with Miami. Okay? So, for example, when things were going great, the guys are really picking up on what I'm doing. Right? You get that feel. When it's not going well, I'm calling the right plays. Guys just got to throw it and catch it. No coach says that. No good coach says that.
Nope.
Now, maybe out of a bit of just being frustrated, a coach may come out and say, we didn't do anything well, but never call out an individual player. You just don't do that. So if there's any knock that I would have on Adam Gase, it's not about coaching, but being a head coach is more about than that. And it's the other stuff that he has problems with. It's the relationships with his players. Because guess what? If none of the players like you or feel that you know what you're doing, you're going to have a hard time getting them to perform on the field. That's just the way it works.
Sure.
You very rarely have a coach. Look at who's your guy that just got fired from Jacksonville?
Coughlin.
Coughlin. You remember when he was in New York and they were like, hey, man,
At
we
least
got to
there
start
was,
doing things different.
but at least in Coughlin's case, there was some argument for they had success. You know, they were winning championships.
Right, but even then, guess what he did? Look, I got to make some adjustments because the guys aren't responding. And that's, Gase just plows through. Like, even if the guys aren't responding, he's like, I know what I'm doing works. You got to respond. It's like, who's the Miami, the coach for the Hurricanes that said, hey, this has been working for 30 years.
Oh, that was Rick.
That was
Rick. Like, okay, yeah, man, it's been
like
working
that,
for 30 years. But if your players aren't doing it,
and it's coming out of the cocoon, it's got to fight its way out.
Of course.
if your players aren't responding, you got to either do something different or find a better way of communicating that to your players.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that, Leroy. The Daily News goes on. Gase has worked for 6 teams in 17 NFL seasons. He's been part of a team with a winning record only 4 of those 17 seasons. Moreover, Gase has been part of a team with a winning record just once in 14 seasons without Peyton Manning on his team.
What?
His offenses without Manning have finished 21st, 24th, 25th, 31st, and 32nd, respectively. That backdrop has raised plenty of eyebrows on one Jets drive. Gase's awkwardness and poor communication skills haven't endeared him to the players. Some simply don't believe that he's fit to be a head coach. He doesn't comport himself as anything more than a glorified quarterbacks coach, according to people in the organization.
Yep, that's pretty much
Hey, Manish, talk dirty to me, baby.
that's pretty much in line with what I think I would, my assessment of his situation.
It sounds almost exactly like what you said.
Yeah, like that's without even reading that article. Like I get to, when players come out like that. One, it sucks losing. So let's put it: when you're a coach and you're losing, right? If you keep doing the same things, your players aren't going to feel confident in what they're doing.
Yep.
Right? So you either have to do one or two things: change the players and get a new group in, or
which is what he did down here. Like he won with players he didn't like, who didn't like him, and then he traded them all away. Got rid of Jarvis Landry, got rid of Jay Ajayi, say whatever you want. and tried to win with this new system that he thought was going to work better, and it didn't.
Right.
Blew up in his face.
And so I get it. And look, it's no different than in business. It's no different. You could have a boss that's smart as a whip, right? But if his communication skills and how he relates to the people working underneath him aren't any good, then chances are you're probably not going to have success. And there's a few coaches like that. There's a few coaches where after they're fired, the one thing you talk about is their career. You know what? Andy Reid is not only a great coach, but his communication skills are unbelievable. Unbelievable. He gets his message across to everybody. I mean, you see a lot of coaches that are like that. How about Pat Riley? Pat Riley, take all these superstars. Give me all the stars. And you know what? When he was the coach, they'd come in and he'd find a way to relate to them, to get the message to them, to have them play a certain way. Now, once you have that success, you get that level of respect.
Yeah, and even after guys leave, like, you know, people who leave here, they can't wait to make fun of Adam Gase. You know, Deion Waiters is still giving Pat Riley all the praise in the world in the Players Tribune after everything that went down on his breakup.
Because he realized that no matter how much it sucks, see, you cannot like your coach, but still respect him because you're playing the best or you're doing the best at your job that you've ever done, right? That's different because everybody that comes down here talks about how brutal camps are and how brutal the workout regimen is and how brutal the weight thing is, right? And so from that standpoint, all these things matter. Like, they matter. You don't have to like your coach, but you have to respect him enough to know that he's looking out for you. He wants the best version of you. And I think when Gase goes out in front of a camera or defends himself by stepping on the other guys, right? It just doesn't, like, that's the problem.
And by the way, Gase isn't good at X's and O's either. I mean, 3rd and 1's a passing down, 3rd and 11 is a running down. He's scared of that. He remembers that Peyton Manning sack in the end zone for a safety, and he thinks about it for 5 years.
Jamal Adams, he writes, is amendable for playing for teams with sound infrastructure and stable leadership, even without a new contract in 2020, according to people in the know. His desire to be part of the turnaround on the Jets soured due to his lack of faith in Gase. A bulk of the Jets locker room shares Adams' sentiment. There's a strong belief in the organization that the Jets will never become a winner as long as Gase is in charge. Most of all, people in the building believe that Gase's desire for self-preservation will trump all else. His mere presence is playing a role in driving away the organization's best player. Mwah. That could be my favorite category on Pornhub. We'll be back with more after this.
You can't tell that he can lead a team based on his interactions with just a quarterback.
Yeah,
you know who did that? I'm going to tell you who did the same exact thing that other teams have done, that the Dolphins and the Jets have done with Gase. That's the Browns with Kitchens. Right? Great offensive mind, great quarterbacks coach, couldn't lead a team.
The thing, though, with Kitchens is I feel like people pointed him out to be kind of a doofus and a bit of a public buffoon very early on. Gase has been running this football Ponzi scheme now for, what has he said? He said 17 years.
What is he supposed? Wait a minute. No, he hasn't been running a Ponzi scheme.
Ponzi scheme.
If they see what you've done in the past and still offer you the head coaching job, are you supposed to say no?
No, it's not.
It's the Jets' fault. It's not Adam Gase's fault. He ain't gonna say no.
It's 100% the Jets' fault.
So I mean, that's not a Ponzi scheme.
And he was like their 9th choice because they
don't matter. It's not his fault. It's not his fault they offered him the job.
It is his fault in that could he get better if he wasn't such a pig-headed loser?
Here, I'll give you a perfect example.
Like, could he adjust? Like, you talk about coaches adjusting and getting things behind them as far as like getting the experience. Like, you may say like Bill Belichick is the same guy that he was in Cleveland. I guarantee he's still, because he's the ultimate adjuster and cheats, but I guarantee he took experiences from coaching in Cleveland and made himself better than he was in New England.
Yeah, but here's why I can tell he's basically the same guy as far as the football aspect of it. I would say maybe because of, he got a better grasp of the people that he wanted to be on his team, right? But here's what I'll say about as far as the coaching. I can have a conversation with somebody that was with Bill Belichick 5 years ago, and I was with him 20, 30 years ago. And we can have the same conversation about preparation for a game. And that's when you know he's been the same coach, right? He's been the same coach. Now, maybe how he communicates has been a little different, and that changes, based on your experiences. But as far as coach, as far as preparation, when you talk about all the guys that coach for him, what did who was a linebacker we had in our DJ Williams say about when the offensive coordinator was a coach in Denver?
Gase?
No. That's back with he's back with
McDaniels?
McDaniels. Never been more prepared for a football game, right? That was his thing. That's a Bill Belichick thing. So yeah, I'm not mad. Like, look, if Intercom called me right now and said, "Hey, we would like you to be the program director in this market. How much does it pay?" All right, I'm in. Right? It ain't my fault. I'll figure it out on the fly. I'm gonna get that check. Right?
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe it's not your fault. But if you keep getting hired as a leader and you're terrible at leading, ultimately,
that's the people who keep hiring you.
Yeah, but in your own mind, don't you have to get better with the same failures over and over? It can't always be everybody else.
Right. Well, here, you're making an assumption, okay? You making the assumption that people learn from their mistakes. Some people take the fact that they keep getting hired as a head coach that they're doing everything right.
I just don't think he gives a rat's ass. I think
because he keeps getting jobs, he thinks he's doing everything right. I do believe that.
That's crazy.
It is. That's part of the problem. Sometimes you have to be self-aware. These coaches have these meetings after the season, and they have a coach with everybody on the team. And you have a conversation about what they expect from you, how they expect you to grow, and how they expect you to get better for next year so you can keep building on your career and helping the team win. Okay? But at some point, that coach has to also have that conversation with himself. Adam Gase doesn't have that conversation with himself. He hasn't had that conversation because his biggest problem since he's been a head coach has been his communication skills with his players. And it has not gotten not one bit better.
Nope.
So he needs to have that conversation with himself.
I just think that, like, if I looked at their first 2 years, even if Adam Gase's first year was more successful with the Dolphins, I'm way more excited about Flores as a head coach and his prospects going into year 2 than I am even with Adam, because ultimately they won in spite of Adam Gase in that first year. I really believe that every inch that they got last year, every win, every positive thing they had some tie into the head coach and Brian Flores.
Sure, absolutely. You know why? Because when this season started and they had 15 new guys who joined that week and they got their asses kicked the first 2 weeks, he stood in front of the mic, never used it as an excuse, never gave any, he had every right to go up there and talk about the situation and circumstance. And
Yep.
people asked him about it. Not my concern.
People tried to goad him on tanking all year.
Right.
All year.
Right. Exactly. Wouldn't do it. Would not do it. And he could have defended himself.
Sure.
Never did it. But you know what? As the season went on, with those same guys losing 59-0 or whatever the scores were, right? Those same guys, right, started playing together, started winning. And then you could see, you know what?
And don't forget, also in the midst of it, had a young quarterback. Probably the more prudent thing is to play Josh Rosen in a year that's lost. He said, nah, I'm going to play the veteran. I'm going to go win as many games as possible.
Right. Which everybody said it sucked because you didn't think you were going to get Tua. But now that you got Tua, you appreciate it more. How about appreciating it back then? Falls where it falls. You know what I mean? Your job is to win.
And who's hanging?
Just go win.
Who's hanging out with Olaf now? Gase. All right. Who's got the snowman singing "Want to Build a Snowman" to their kids now?
Oh no, hey,
Coach Flo.
You think Flo's got him singing that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're a buffoon.
Hey, Coach, it's Josh Gad. Listen, Josh, I'm happy to talk some fins with you, baby. But you know what you got to do first. You better get on this phone and tell my kid that I'm Olaf and I love warm hugs.
Yep. You know who the next coach of the Jets going to be?
Who?
Eric Bieniemy.
Ooh.
I hope so.
I wonder.
I do not hope
and
so.
I would say
he
this.
might actually lead the Jets to
un-
winning.
Here was part of the problem. Usually when your team goes to the Super Bowl, you don't get the same opportunities as the guys who are out of the playoffs gets because you can't be interviewed. Right? And a lot of these guys hire coaches before the season's over with. That being said, I'm wondering, what do they see in him that gives them pause? Because if he was anybody else, he'd already have a head coaching job.
The Dolphins waited on Flores. Flores was coaching in the Super Bowl with the Patriots. The Dolphins waited on.
They already knew who the coach was going to be.
I think they
had interviews with him.
They interviewed Bieniemy too.
They did. So that's what I'm wondering. Like, look, and I'm not this criticism that I'm giving to Gase. There's a number of coaches that fall in this, same category where great offensive minds, not good as leaders. And sometimes you can tell that in the interview, and sometimes you can't. So I'm just wondering if maybe Eric's interviews haven't gone as well as these other guys. I don't know.
Well, listen,
he should be a head coach.
I tell you what Eric's got to start doing. He's got to start FaceTiming Patrick Mahomes like Adam Gase FaceTimes Peyton Manning in these interviews. Go, tell him how great I am, Peyton. Go on.
Wait, let me explain something. There's two guys that you can have on your side that automatically get you either a second interview or the job. That's Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
Right?
But it's got to start being Patrick Mahomes. Like, he's got a dime of, yeah, you got to hire me, enemy. Hire my guy.
Hey, is it possible to be that good and have that messed up of a voice?
Whatever, man.
Like,
dude's probably gonna be a voice in Toy Story 5 one day.
Right. It's Looney Tunes. Like I'm just waiting for Bugs Bunny to say that's all, folks. Every time he talks, it's hilarious. And then take that voice after you've been screaming for a whole football game and make it hoarse.
He's gonna be the voice of a fork.
Back after this.